Hello everyone, this is Yvonne from Yvonne Ceramics. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to make this beautiful bird plate using paper stencil and underglaze. If you're curious about how I have different colored birds and then a different color for the background of the plate, make sure you watch to the end of the video to find out more. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel for more videos each week. So let's look at the stencil we'll be making today. So here I have some metal dies. One side is flat, the other side you can see is raised edges. These are intended for making like scrapbooks or cards, and people will put it through a machine with a piece of paper, and then it will cut out like the shape of this bird. Or if you have some digital computer machine that can cut out paper template, that would be even easier. But today I'm not going to use my Cricut machine to make the paper template. I'm going to go low tech and just use these metal cutting dies and show you how to make your own paper template even if you don't have a Cricut machine at home. So here I have just a sheet of computer paper, very thin sheet of computer paper. I'm going to put my bird underneath the paper, and I'm just using my rib to just slice it through the raised side of the bird, and this way hoping to cut out the bird, because the raised edge is actually quite sharp, and I'm hoping this way I can get the outline, the paper template, without using the machine. And I know some people, they do have the die cutting machine, and you can use that too, but then if you don't have the die cutting machine, you would have to go through this way. Just want to quickly show you, after rubbing it on the paper quite a bit, it does cut the paper a bit, but it takes a lot of effort to do it, and it makes my hand quite tiring. So I'm going to use my Big Shot machine, which is kind of like a slab roller but for cutting dies, and it's just much easier for me to cut dies, and much faster this way. So I'm just gonna put my paper through on here with the die underneath like that. Okay, and then I'm actually gonna put a couple of these dies underneath. Okay, and then just putting this glass on top. Let's zoom out so you can see this machine. So I'm just gonna push this through, and there's a crank here that I'm just gonna push it through, and it'll come out the other end. It'll come out on this end like that. Okay, let's see how it looks. Okay, so for example, this one, it cut through really well, and same as these guys. So that's one of the paper template. So I've got my paper templates. There are 4 birds, and this is just a hand-built plate that I made today. It's about before letter heart stage. So with the paper template, I'm going to use Underglaze to do my decoration. I'm thinking of trying something new today. I'm going to paint Underglaze first, and then put the paper template on, and then paint another layer on top. So this is going to be the general placement for my template. I have my yellow Underglaze here. I'm going to start with this bird here. I am going to just lift this up a little bit and just paint yellow right here. And I'm gonna let it dry. And with Underglaze, I need to put on 3 coats. So yep, that looks pretty good. So I'm going to let this dry, and then I will do my 3 coats. And then for this bird here, I'm going to go with orange Underglaze. So I just took off this template and I'm going to do orange here. Okay, looking pretty good. Then I'm gonna let this dry and then put on more coats. Okay, so I'm gonna do the same thing for these 2 birds. One will be blue and the other one will be pink. So I put on 3 coats of Underglaze. It's dry to touch. So next I have my paper template. I need to wet it. I have some water and a spray bottle. I'm just gonna spray it. And now it is wet. Okay, I sprayed it with water. It's wet now. And so I'm just going to put the first template on here. You don't, once you put it down, you don't want to move it because you don't want to move the Underglaze too much. So okay, so this is where the first bird is going to be. Okay, then the next one, let's just go on the side and just wet it. And then once it's wet, it's very fragile and delicate, so make sure that you have to handle with care and don't break it. And so I'm just kind of tapping the template on top of the Underglaze. Make sure it's nice and flat. And then I'm gonna do the same for the other birds. Alright, now that the paper templates are on top of each of the corresponding Underglazes, the paper template is still damp, so you don't have to wait for it to dry. You can now go over with another layer of Underglaze. You'll notice that I have left the little feet out of the plate because later on when I need to lift up the paper template, it'll just be easier for me to find where the paper template is. So now I am using the mid-green Underglaze, which is a darker green Underglaze. I'm using a fan brush. Just make sure I load the brush really well with the dark Underglaze. And when I am brushing the Underglaze on top of the paper template, I want to make sure I do it carefully and not to lift up the paper template while I'm doing so. So I'm going from the center of the paper template going outward like so, and I'm doing it carefully not to get any underglaze underneath the paper template. Okay, and then let's do the other one. That's why I like to do it when the paper template is still a bit damp, not completely dry, because I find that sometimes when the template is completely dry, it can lift right off from the plate. So I'm just covering it, and I like to use a darker colored underglaze on top of this of all the glazes, because it can cover up all the other pigment. So just like any other underglaze, you do need to apply 3 coats of this color. So I'm just gonna go ahead and apply this all the way, just basically cover the whole plate with this green. Alright, so now that the green underglaze has dried, I did put on 3 coats, so it's all good. Time for the reveal. So I got my needle tool here. I'm gonna use this to lift up my paper template. Let's start with this corner. Because I have the feet sticking out, so it'll be really easy for me to just lift up to see. Okay, this looks really nice, right? You can see, remember how I painted the pink underglaze? Now because the green is covering the paper stencils, so it leaves the pink bird here. So now let's lift this one up and see. Okay, so need to be careful. So this one is the orange bird. It's unfortunate some of the details didn't quite transfer through, but I have an idea. But first, let's just lift up all the paper template and see how it looks first. This one looks like this one is the yellow bird. And then the last one is the blue one. So I need to be careful not to rip the, oopsie, if you are not careful you could rip the paper template. So you need to be very careful not to rip it. Okay, let's see. Alright, and then there's this little piece of paper that got stuck on here, so I need to carefully lift this part up. Okay, got it. Okay, so that's how it looks with the paper template. So basically the paper acts as a resist, so that when I put on the green underglaze, it covers up the underneath color. So with the you can see some of the green did transfer through the pattern, but I'm not too happy with how it looks. I would like to have more details. So or if you are happy with this look, you can just leave it as is and misfire it, but I would like to have more details, so I'm going to carve out the details using my carving tool. So I have this one, this is my fine one. I can also use this one as well. So looking at this one, I think this one is this one, so I'm going to just using my carving tool to carve out some of the lines for the birds. So for example, this line here. So just like that, I did carve out some lines. So I'm going to go ahead and carve out more details of the birds. Okay, so I've done my carving. I used various tools, using the needle tool for the fine lines, and then this one for the thicker line, like these ones here. I think generally I'm very happy with the design of this plate. I think it looks really good and it's really fun to make. So I'm gonna let this dry and bisque fire it. After bisque firing, all I have to do is put a coat of clear glaze on top. So that's it for today's tutorial. I hope you'll give this a try. Thank you everyone for watching. See you guys next time. Bye bye.